Being present with another human being is about showing up as a human. We're not wearing the hat of professional, we're wearing the hat of neighbor, as community person, as someone who is interested in the well-being and recovery of the individuals who live here.
I love it here, man, you know. I got my own room, we all have fun here, you know. We all sit down and watch sports at time together. And we talk, we communicate, and this is what it is, you know, with me. You know, before I didn't want to communicate with anyone, but now I communicate because I want to do better.
The thing that attracts me to Plymouth Church, and therefore to Plymouth Healing Communities, is that it walks the talk. It does what a church is supposed to do, and Plymouth Healing Communities is one of the ways that it reaches out to those who are most vulnerable. Some of the most vulnerable are homeless people, and with the people that we serve, not only homeless people, but people who live with mental illness.
I'm Hannah Campbell Gustafson, and I'm a companion at the Plymouth House of Healing.
My name is Gary Southerton. I'm the Executive Director for Plymouth Healing Communities.
My name is Lyndon Brown, and I am a companion at Plymouth House of Healing.
Lisa Bakke, manager of Plymouth House of Healing.
The mission of Plymouth Healing Communities was to reach out to people who have experienced homelessness and who are living with what we'd say chronic mental health issues or chronic mental illness. And the reason that Plymouth wanted to reach out to these folks is not just because it's the right thing to do, but the mission was to stop the revolving door. The revolving door, people who have experienced homelessness and people who are living with mental illness oftentimes go into the hospital, and then they end up back on the streets. And then they may be facing incarceration, the hospital, back on the streets. And so the goal of our organization is to provide housing with quality companionship so that people will be more successful in being able to, in their recovery from mental illness, but also in living on their own.
Everybody get along real well. You know, we all do our chore here and do what we're supposed to do, go to our appointments and things. And we all come and have gratitude at the table. You know, if I have a problem, I can always ask someone here. If I need help with something, they'll help me out. And I love it here. You know, it's a good place to be for anybody who want to get their life back on track. You know, and stop using drugs, drinking. You know, this is the place to be. You know, and hopefully I can be able to carry this to someone else, try to help someone else.
A companion at Plymouth House of Healing does a variety of tasks. Physically, we cook dinner for the house, we maintain a clean environment, but more importantly, we are here to partner with the residents in their recovery. And show them respect, which is really the most important thing. Being with them, allowing them to talk about what they want, asking them questions, and making sure that they feel valued, because they are. This house has really allowed me to understand just how many struggles people go through in their lives, and living side by side with them, as I do here, has been just a completely eye-opening experience.
I've heard stories where, you know, people will sit down to the dinner table at the House of Healing and mention to the house manager or to one of the companions, "This is the first time in my life that I've ever done this." And they go, "You mean eating dinner?" And they go, "No, sat around a table and shared a meal with someone." I mean, that's, for me, unimaginable. But that's what we offer, is community. A community, an intentional community, which shows that there are people on this planet and in this community that actually care about you.
Like, I've learned how to cook bread pretty well and make fresh pasta and get to experiment a lot, and the fact that that can be a way of showing love for people is pretty great. And the gratitudes at the beginning of the meal, where everyone goes around and says something that they're grateful about, I'm grateful for from that day. That's a pretty special part of the meal.
We all eat together. We all say gratitude together. We all do our choices together. This helps. You know, this house really helps. The peoples in this house really help.
This model was created as a response to suffering. Our world has so much suffering and brokenness in it, and it doesn't take a lot to mend that. It takes seeing and listening to another person, listening to the story that got someone to where they are, listening into the ways that they know how to take future steps, accompanying them on that journey. Being present is really about showing up and saying, I care, I'm interested, you'll learn a little bit about me, and that's what forms community.
Our success rate is really high. We've had an over 80% reduction in rehospitalizations and reincarcerations after people have had some time here at the House of Healing and have experienced community with Plymouth Healing Communities. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe we spend a little bit more up front. But on the back end, what we save is enormous.
You'll come back, we'll watch basketball, and you can come back over and have dinner with us.
I think it is a lot about the listening and the side-by-side nature of living together, and I guess the respect that's involved in all of that.
It has really allowed me to get to know the people behind the numbers and behind the statistics, to better understand addiction and how people cope with mental illness, what it can be like for someone to be struggling with hearing voices, and how someone deals with that. And I think that knowing these types of things will help me become a better physician. It's made me realize how close so many people are to homelessness. Some people are just one paycheck away from losing their home.
This house is a model of what wellness can look like in the larger community, in our city, in our nation, around the world. It sounds a little bit, magical or something, and I think in some ways it is. I think that it is possible, and it starts with that basic ingredient of reaching out to someone else with your hand or with your eyes or with your heart and saying, I see you, you matter. We're looking for ways for each individual to be seen as a whole person, and companions discover that we're sort of all part of that bigger picture, that an illness doesn't define a person. We've had 88 residents since the house opened. And I would say that, a certain percentage of them are, still come back to visit, to have dinner, to check in if they've been nearby for an appointment. And we've had 42 companions since the house opened. And I mean, in this work, we typically talk about the benefits or impact or outcome for those receiving the services. And it is absolutely a profound experience for the companions. But I think what is really profound is how much the residents give to the rest of us, to me as manager, to the companions who live here. And that's the whole person thing, being aware of them and their gifts and celebrating that.
Companions and the residents are definitely the best part of Plymouth House. Just getting to know people who have completely different backgrounds. Everybody has something different to share. Everyone has something valuable.
I cannot do no more than thank every person in this house, for allowing me to be here, giving me a chance to better myself and to move on.
When people know that there are people that care about them, hope can happen, love can happen. I would love, if I had the dream, that every community would have a house of healing in the United States.